Before you judge me, just listen to the full story. I'm not here to make excuses or to ask for pity. I just need someone, anyone, to understand what it's like to have your reality collapse from one sentence on a screen. My name is Ava. I'm 29. And for the past 2 years, I thought I was in a loyal, committed relationship. I'm not naive. I've been through enough bullshit to know when something smells off. Or at least, I thought I did. We'll call him Ryan. Not his real name, because honestly, I don't even know who he really was. On paper, Ryan was everything I thought I needed. Stable job, emotionally present, the kind of guy who texts back and opens doors, the kind of guy who talks about doing life together, the kind of guy who made me believe the word safe could actually mean something. And then there was her, Chloe. Now, Ryan always swore Chloe was just a friend. "She's like a sister to me," he'd say every time I raised an eyebrow. "We've known each other since uni." Or, "She's dating someone else, Ava. You have nothing to worry about." At first, I let it go. I didn't want to be that girlfriend, the controlling, insecure type who sees danger in every female interaction. I told myself I was mature, secure, above jealousy. But then came the late-night texts, the inside jokes I was never a part of, the way she touched his arm a little too long when we were all together, the subtle glances between them when they thought I wasn't looking. Every time I brought it up, he'd roll his eyes. "Are we really doing this again?" "It's just Chloe." "You're overthinking everything." I gaslit myself, told myself I was paranoid, that I was projecting old wounds, that maybe I was still carrying trust issues from the guy before him, the one who couldn't even say the word girlfriend without choking. And so I swallowed it, again and again, until the night I couldn't. Ryan had fallen asleep on the sofa. His phone was buzzing, screen lighting up every few seconds. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear I wasn't. But curiosity has a way of feeling like survival when your gut's been screaming for months. The preview said it all. Last night was a mistake, but I miss you already. I froze, stared at those words like they were written in fire. My stomach dropped through the floor. That message didn't sound like just friends. That message didn't sound like a sister. That message sounded like everything I had feared, laid bare in a single line. I didn't open the full text. I didn't need to. My brain was already connecting dots I'd been trying to ignore. The late work nights, the canceled plans, the way he always kept his phone face down. That message cracked open everything I thought was real. And what came next would unravel everything. The next morning, I couldn't keep it in. I waited until he got out of the shower, still towel-wrapped, rubbing sleep from his eyes like the world was perfectly fine. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding his phone in my hand. He froze. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just said it. "I saw the message." He blinked, paused, then gave me that tired sigh. The kind men use when they're more annoyed than guilty. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one who ruined the morning. "Ava, you're overreacting." His voice was low, calm, the exact tone someone uses to sound reasonable while lying through their teeth. I didn't blink. "Tell me the truth." He sat beside me, kept his voice soft. Too soft. "Chloe and I had one stupid night, okay? One. It meant nothing." There it was. Just like that, he gave me the headline. No build-up, no emotion. Like he was saying, "I forgot to take out the bins." And somehow, that made it worse. "You said she was like your sister?" He didn't flinch. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It was after a fight with you. We both drank too much. It was a mistake." It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt deliberate, calculated. But my heart still wanted to believe him. He reached for my hand. "This is why I didn't tell you, because you always assume the worst. I knew you'd blow it up like this. I was trying to protect what we have." There it was again, flipping it, making it my fault, for being the kind of woman who asks questions. My throat was tight. I couldn't even cry. I just nodded. He kissed my forehead like he was doing me a favor. Like confession erased consequence. Ryan came into my life 2 years ago, after a breakup that left me gutted. My ex, Daniel, was emotionally constipated, The kind of guy who'd make me beg for affection and then call me needy. When Daniel left, I promised myself never again. No more chasing, no more begging, no more ignoring red flags just because someone felt familiar. So when I met Ryan at a friend's birthday dinner and he offered to walk me home, no pressure, no flirting, just kindness, it felt like a lifeline. He was thoughtful, present, the guy who texted good morning, who asked how my day was, who actually listened. I told myself he was different, that maybe I could finally exhale, that maybe safe didn't mean boring, maybe it meant real. But from the beginning, Chloe was always in the background. And every time something felt off, I silenced that voice in my gut with, Ryan wouldn't do that. He's not like Daniel. Now, I wasn't so sure. Back in the room, he was already getting dressed, already talking about moving forward. We can get past this, he said. We're stronger than one mistake, right? I nodded again. Not because I believed him, because I didn't know what else to do. But something in me shifted. I wasn't crying. I wasn't yelling. I was watching, listening, noticing. And something didn't add up. It meant nothing. But she said, I miss you already. That doesn't sound like one night. That sounds like a continuation. That morning, I told myself I'd forgive him. But deep down, I'd already started digging. Because some lies don't come with closure. They come with clues, and I was done ignoring them. After that morning, Ryan didn't just apologize. He started rewriting the story. And not just to me, it began with subtle jabs. Lines that sounded like concern, but hit like poison. You need to get help, Ava. This jealousy, it's not healthy. You're still scarred from Daniel. That's what this is really about. He stopped defending himself and started diagnosing me. And I let him, because when you're emotionally exhausted, even the wrong answer feels better than no answer. I didn't want to be the girl who ruins everything, the girl who pushes good men away. So I nodded. I bit my tongue. I started shrinking. I stopped bringing Chloe up. I deleted her off Instagram quietly with no announcement, muted her stories, blocked her name from showing in searches. Like, if I could erase the evidence, I could erase the hurt. I even told a few close friends what had happened. Not the full story, just the surface. Their responses? Everyone slips up. You've got a good guy, Ava. Don't let one mistake make you bitter. At least he told you. One even said, some girls wouldn't care. They'd just move on. That line stuck. Some girls wouldn't care. Was I broken for caring? Was I overreacting? I started walking on eggshells around my own boyfriend. I laughed when I didn't feel like it. I stopped asking questions, stopped making observations, stopped being myself. We had dinners where I barely spoke. Sex that felt like silence in motion. He'd kiss my forehead and call me brave for working through it. But I didn't feel brave. I felt like I was auditioning to keep my own relationship. I stopped trusting myself. Every time I felt the heat of suspicion creep up my spine, I'd silence it. Don't be dramatic. Don't ruin this. Don't make him think you're crazy. The worst part? He had me thanking him for staying. Like his betrayal made me the lucky one. He'd say things like, we're stronger now because of it. This made us better. You're not going to throw away what we've built, are you? I even started repeating those lines to myself, out loud, like affirmations, like I was brainwashing myself to stay. I didn't talk to my mom about it, didn't tell my sister, because deep down, I knew what they'd say. Once a line's crossed, it's not love, it's damage control. But I wasn't ready to hear that, so I kept the truth small, and I kept myself smaller. Some nights I'd wake up from nightmares that weren't even dramatic, just normal. Him at dinner, laughing, but not with me, with her. I'd reach out and touch his back while he slept, half hoping it would feel like home again. But it never did. It felt like sleeping next to a stranger who knew all my secrets, who used them to keep me quiet. Maybe I really am too sensitive. That's the sentence that kept me frozen, the one I whispered when I looked in the mirror. And the worst part? It almost worked, until something else broke through. And that something was proof. After that morning, the one where he admitted it, but only enough to stay, something shifted. Not just in him, in me. Ryan didn't scream. He didn't beg. He didn't even really apologize. What he did was far more calculated. He reclaimed the narrative. He made me the unstable one. He made himself the one holding it all together. It started small, casual, disguised as concern. You've been really anxious lately. You should talk to someone about your trust issues. Ava, I love you, but you're exhausting yourself with this paranoia. He was no longer addressing what he did. He was analyzing why I was reacting. And I let him. Because when someone you love tells you you're the problem, you don't fight them. You fight yourself. He weaponized my past like a scalpel. This is because of Daniel, isn't it? He messed with your head and now you're bleeding it into us. God. Daniel. I hadn't thought about him in months. But Ryan brought him back like an exhibit. Held him up like evidence. Your ex broke you, Ava. I'm the one trying to fix you. That's what he said. Over and over. I started shrinking. The first thing to go was my voice. I stopped asking about Chloe, stopped mentioning the message, stopped noticing the way his phone was always face down now. Then I started editing myself. No more venting to friends, no more checking his socials, no more asking where he was when he came home late smelling like her perfume. I deleted Chloe on Instagram, quietly, not to make a statement, but to erase the reminder. Out of sight. Out of breakdown. I told myself I was healing. What I was really doing was disappearing. We went out to dinner 2 nights after the confession. I wore red lipstick and heels even though I felt like crying into my food. He smiled at me like I was the miracle, like I was lucky he stayed. He reached across the table, grabbed my hand. I knew you'd understand. That sentence nearly broke me. I told 2 of my closest friends about what happened. Both gave me different versions of the same bullshit. Everyone makes mistakes. You've got a good guy. Don't let one night ruin everything. Maybe he really is sorry. They meant well, but all I heard was, you're overreacting. Again. I stopped bringing up anything that made him flinch. Stopped talking about my feelings unless they were positive. If I cried, I did it in the shower. If I doubted, I swallowed it. I stopped trusting my gut. You don't realize how dangerous that is until it's gone. That compass, your internal nope, it gets quieter every time you override it. And I'd overridden it so many times for him. It was practically silent. He made it sound like he was doing the hard thing. Like he was the one staying strong. Stopped talking about my feelings unless they were positive. If I cried, I did it in the shower. If I doubted, I swallowed it. I stopped trusting my gut. You don't realize how dangerous that is until it's gone. That compass, your internal nope, it gets quieter every time you override it. And I'd overridden it so many times for him. It was practically silent. He made it sound like he was doing the hard thing. Like he was the one staying strong. I stayed, Ava. I could have walked. But I stayed because I believe in us. I'm not like other guys. I told you the truth. What truth? I didn't even know what parts were real anymore. Was it just one night? Was it emotional before it was physical? Was I really crazy? Or was I right all along? Some nights I'd lie in bed next to him, staring at the ceiling, wondering who I had become. The confident woman who once said, "If someone cheats, I leave," was now lying silently next to the man who cheated and calling it growth. Worse than his lie was how normal everything looked afterward. The dinner dates, the laughter, the birthday gift he gave me with a card that said, "To the one who sees me." I read that card and wanted to throw up, because if I really saw him, I would have left. My world got smaller. I stopped visiting family, stopped taking calls, even stopped writing in my journal, because the truth looked too ugly on paper. It was easier to smile, easier to say, "We're doing better now." Easier to tell myself, maybe I am too sensitive. And that's the line that kept me trapped. Maybe I really am too sensitive. The words that made me second-guess my instincts, my reactions, my reality. He didn't just lie, he rewired me. But somewhere deep under the static and silence, a flicker of clarity remained. And when it finally lit up again, it wasn't rage. It wasn't heartbreak. It was curiosity. The kind that doesn't ask if there's more to the story, but how much worse it gets. You ever look back and realize the truth was always there, just hidden behind your hope? That's what flashbacks do. They don't show you what you missed. They show you what you refused to see. After I started shrinking, something shifted in me. Not a scream, not a storm, just silence. I stopped asking questions and started remembering instead. There was the dinner, the night Chloe just happened to show up. Ryan and I had reservations for our anniversary, just the two of us, planned for weeks. I wore a dress he once said made me look like a daydream. He wore that same navy button-down I loved. We were seated, menus in hand, wine already poured, when she walked in. No warning, no invite, just, "Oh my God, didn't know you guys were here." She said it like a joke, but her eyes said otherwise. Ryan's face lit up, too fast, too wide. He pulled up a chair before I could blink, and I smiled. Because what else do you do when your boyfriend's just a friend crashes your dinner like it's her date? I watched them laugh. Inside jokes, her hand casually brushing his. Him asking if she wanted to split dessert when I hadn't even finished my meal. That night burned slow. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that it was all in my head, because that's what he told me. And by then, I believed him more than I trusted myself. Then there was the trip. Ryan and I were supposed to take a weekend away, just us, a little Airbnb by the coast. No phones, no work, no Chloe. The night before, he bailed. Something came up. Big client meeting. I'll make it up to you. I didn't argue. I just packed my swimsuit back into the drawer and pretended I didn't already know. 2 days later, Chloe posted a story. Waves crashing, wine glasses, a fireplace, no faces, just enough. She deleted it an hour later. And me? I said nothing, because saying something would mean admitting I knew. Then I realized Chloe was never around when I was. Not at group hangs, not at parties, not at his birthday dinner. It was like they existed on a rotating schedule. When I'd ask, he'd shrug. "She's been busy. You're reading too much into things." But deep down, I knew. I'd known for months. Before you judge me, know this. I'm not the jealous type. I've been cheated on before. I know what paranoia feels like, and I swore I'd never live in it again. I went into this relationship eyes open, heart cautious. But this wasn't fear. It was instinct. And instinct doesn't lie. It whispers. Then it screams. I ignored it when it whispered. But I couldn't ignore it now. So I stopped blaming him. Stopped blaming her. Stopped blaming myself. And I did the only thing left to do when someone's lying to your face with a smile. I stopped asking questions and started watching. Instead, you don't plan a betrayal overnight. It takes time, cover stories, confidence, and a partner who's slowly losing faith in her own instincts. That's who I had become. The perfect mark. But now I was quiet, cold, curious. It started with the shared calendar. The same one we used to track work shifts, dinner plans, date nights. The one I stopped checking after the fight. Because what's the point of planning your life with someone who's already chosen someone else? But that morning, I opened it. No real reason, just a hunch. And there it was. A weekend trip blocked out 3 months ago. Guy's weekend, Brighton. I remember that weekend. He came back sunburned, relaxed, said he needed time with the boys. I even picked him up from the station. He brought me a tote bag that said Seaside Soul. I told him it was sweet. He kissed my forehead like he was proud of himself. But I didn't stop there. I dug into our Airbnb account. We'd used mine for a few trips. Sure enough, there was a reservation under his name. Same weekend, 2 guests. No boys' names in the reviews, just a 5-star rating from a woman named Vanessa, who said, "Ryan and Chloe were a dream to host. Such a sweet couple." I stared at the screen, read it 10 times. Such a sweet couple. Like I didn't exist. Like I'd never existed. From there, I went to photo backups. He wasn't tech savvy. Didn't know cloud backups don't always delete from the server, just the app. I found a folder he hadn't touched in months. Inside, A picture taken on the second morning of that same trip. The bed was messy, sunlight spilling across the duvet. And right there, smiling at him like she owned the world, Chloe, wrapped in the same robe I bought him for Christmas. He was holding the phone. She was kissing his shoulder. The metadata? Timestamped, geotagged, Brighton. I felt nothing. Not rage, not pain, just vacancy. Like my body was watching someone else's life fall apart. And then I kept digging. Messages. Old ones. He thought he'd deleted them, but his laptop was still synced to his phone, and cached data doesn't lie. I opened the iMessage archive and searched her name. The first one that hit me like a train. I love you too. I'll tell her soon. I'll tell her soon. That was 6 months ago. 6. I scrolled further. Dozens of messages. Miss you already. You're the only one who gets me. We'll figure it out. Just give me time. The same voice he used on me, calm, warm, manipulative, he was using on her. I wasn't the one being lied to. We both were, but I was the one being managed, kept happy just enough to delay the collapse, fed just enough love to stay on the leash. He wasn't torn between two women. He was choreographing two realities. That's when it clicked. It wasn't a one-night mistake. It wasn't Chloe being overly friendly. It wasn't my jealousy or my trauma or my lack of trust. It was a year-long affair, emotionally, physically, intentionally. He didn't stumble. He built this, chose it, maintained it, and for most of that time, he was planning to leave me. He told her he would, told her he loved her, told her I was complicated, that I wouldn't understand. The worst part? I tried so hard to be understanding, to heal, to forgive, to believe. While he was logging into her heart like it was home, I was setting reminders to grab his dry cleaning. This wasn't a mistake. This was a decision. He didn't cheat once. He was living a double life, and I was the side character in it. It took Ava 3 days to send the message, not because she didn't know what to say, but because part of her still wanted to believe Chloe was the enemy. It was easier that way, cleaner, but the truth rarely is. So, with shaking hands, she typed, "I think we need to talk. I've seen things. I just want the truth." Chloe responded within 10 minutes. "I was waiting for this." "Yes, name the place." They met at a neutral cafe. Midday, public, bright. No space for drama, no shadows for secrets. Chloe arrived first. Hair pulled back, no makeup, nervous smile. Not the vixen Ava had built in her head, just a woman who looked just as tired. "Thank you for coming," Ava said, unsure what her face was doing. Chloe nodded slowly. "I figured this was coming eventually." There was a pause, an awkward dance between suspicion and recognition. Then Ava said it, blunt and sharp. "He told me you were just a friend." Chloe didn't flinch. "He told me you were just a roommate." Ava blinked. "Wait, what?" Chloe took a breath, steady and deliberate. "He said the two of you were cohabiting after a breakup, that it was awkward and you hadn't found a new place yet, that you were unstable, that you clung to him, that you'd make scenes." Ava's mouth went dry. "He said that?" Chloe nodded. "He told me not to engage with you, that if you ever reached out, I should ignore you, that it would just escalate things." The pieces clicked like a cruel puzzle. He hadn't just lied, he'd built two entirely separate narratives. To Ava, Chloe was a desperate friend, a clingy distraction, a mistake. To Chloe, Ava was the clingy ex, the unstable, emotional burden. Neither of them was the main character in his life. They were just pieces of control. They pulled out calendars, text logs, photos, memory. And the overlap? Sickening. There were weekends Ryan had told Chloe he was traveling for work, when he was with Ava at her mother's birthday. There were dinners with Ava that he had told Chloe were mandatory family things. There was even a Valentine's Day, one dinner after the other. As they compared notes, Ava felt something loosen in her chest. Not relief, not peace, just recognition of how easy it is to believe someone when they say you're crazy, especially when you're alone. Chloe leaned forward, eyes steady. "I thought you were the villain." "I really did." Ava gave a bitter smile. "Same." Chloe shrugged. Turns out we weren't enemies. A pause. Then the line that cracked it all. We were both the other woman. Ava didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't ask why. By the time she stood in front of him, she already knew the answer. He hadn't loved her, he'd used her. So when she laid the folder on the table, a cold, methodical stack of printed messages, photo screenshots, calendars, it wasn't for closure. It was documentation of his lies, of her sanity. Ryan walked in like he always did, confident, a little smug, like charm could still fix this. But the moment he saw what was laid out, his own handwriting, his own time-stamped lies, the color drained from his face. What is all this? Ava didn't flinch. Proof of the two lives you built, of how you made us both think we were the only one. He picked up one page, a photo of him and Chloe in Brighton. Where did you get this? Does it matter? He dropped it like it burned. The excuses came next, like clockwork. I was confused. You were pulling away. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't know what I wanted. Ava looked him dead in the eye. You knew what you wanted. You just didn't care who you hurt getting it. He dropped his head into his hands. I messed everything up. No apology, just pity for himself. She stepped back, pointed toward the door. Get out. His head snapped up. Ava, wait. No. You lied to me, manipulated me, made me question my own mind. And when that didn't work, you made her the villain. I'm done. Get out. His jaw tightened. For once, he had no script left to read from. He picked up his keys, his phone, turned toward the hallway. And then he stopped. Didn't turn around. Just said it. Chloe's pregnant. The silence that followed was so complete, Ava thought the world had stopped breathing. Her ears rang, her limbs went cold. What? Still facing away, he clarified. She's keeping it. I wasn't going to tell you, but she didn't hear the rest. All the sound drained from the room. This wasn't a man searching for forgiveness. This wasn't a confession. It was a cornered animal, dropping a final blow before retreat. He didn't say it with remorse. He said it like it explained everything, like it excused him from responsibility. Ava stared at his back. You weren't going to tell me, because the truth was never your priority. He turned slightly, like he might respond, but she cut him off. Leave, before I forget how much better I am without you. And just like that, he left. She stood alone in the silence, the door clicking shut behind him. Pregnant. Chloe was pregnant. Another consequence of his lies, another ripple Ava didn't ask for. He didn't confess. He was cornered. And even then, his truth came with consequences I never asked for. Ava didn't post a thing. No cryptic captions, no messy Instagram rants. She didn't need the world to know what happened, because when you finally know the truth, you stop needing an audience. She went silent. On him, on Chloe, on anyone who thought they knew the story. She found a new place. Small, bright, just hers. The first night she slept there, she didn't cry. She didn't replay his lies. She didn't scroll through old messages or torture herself with what-ifs. She just stared at the ceiling and exhaled. Long. Deep. Like she hadn't breathed in months. The next week, she started therapy. Not because she was broken, but because she was finally ready to understand why she stayed so long. Why she kept trying to fix something that was designed to break her. And what she learned was simple. Painful, but simple. She had made herself a home in chaos. Because chaos was familiar. I kept trying to fix broken men, she told her therapist. Because if I could fix them, maybe I'd finally be enough to stay. That version of Ava, the one who overextended, overforgave, overwrote red flags with excuses, that version didn't move into her new place with her. She left her behind, right where she belonged. One day, a friend asked her if she missed him. She laughed. Not bitter, just honest. I don't miss him. I miss who I was before he made me doubt my own reality. She bumped into Chloe once, months later. No drama, just quiet recognition. They weren't friends, but they weren't enemies either. They had survived the same storm, and neither of them owed the other an apology. They just nodded. then walked in separate directions. Ava didn't hate Ryan. She didn't wish him pain. She didn't hope Chloe left him. She didn't stalk his updates or dream about revenge. She simply deleted him. From her phone, from her memory, from her future. She started dating again, not to replace what was lost, but to reconnect with who she was without him. And this time, she didn't ignore the voice in her gut. She listened. And when something felt off, she didn't write a story around it. She left. "He told me I was dramatic," she once said, "that I overreacted, that I was too sensitive. But I wasn't dramatic. I was right. Ava wasn't a backup plan anymore. She was her own plan, her own anchor, her own peace. And if someone ever tried to dim her light again, she'd walk away before they got the chance. If he hides you, he's not protecting love. He's protecting lies. I wasn't dramatic. I was right. And next time, I won't wait for proof to walk away. He had a backup plan. I became my own.